Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to this evening's hearing. Zoning Board of Adjustment for November 17th, 2015. I'm your chairman, Bob Brown. To my right is our vice chairman, Joe Plessner. On the end of the table to the right is Marina Sumner, full member. To my left is George Helwig and Kathy Yo on the end. It's nice to have a full board tonight. Thank you all for being here. We got a pretty full evening here of MB Tractor, so if it's all right with you folks, I'd like to get going. Taking a look at this agenda today, I made a decision to go ahead and, if it's all right with you, Counselor, and the rest of the board members, to place the appeal for the administrative decision first to resolve this, reconcile this motor vehicle issue. I've noticed that you refer to it in a couple of places at least in your variance appeal. So I think it's best if we get that out of the way, and then we can purify the rest of it fine.
I agree.
Proceed without any issues there. So let's see where we go with that. That would be case number 15-16, appeal of an administrative decision pursuant to a decision by the code enforcement officer that landscaping and light construction equipment and machines sold by MB Tractor and equipment fall within the definition of motor vehicles. Would you like to make any comments regarding that?
Yes, I would, and I have a lot of information I'd like to give the board if I could do that. I brought some information to go through in support of that. So,
That'd be Exhibit A.
A, B, C, D. I try to, this actually would apply to everything. So just context, definitions, pictures.
You have a letter day.
Would you like one?
Oh,
Yeah, I have two.
So,
I should give one to Darry.
can we?
You should
There you go.
have that.
Before we get started, I just want to check, there's a homework. Does anyone have any need to recuse themselves before we start? Okay.
No, I'm good.
Thank
Do you mind if I sit here?
you. No, no.
I'm good, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I brought this information to try to further explain where we see things.
Is this relative to motor vehicles now?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's relative to the definition, but it also gives you some background information. So, I guess for the record, I have to state my name, Patricia Panciocco. I did sign in. I'm here for MB Tractor, and Mr. and Mrs. Butts are also here. They are the property owners, and they've authorized me to represent this application to the board. And as the chairman has noted, there are 3 applications, and when I started to organize all this material today, I concur with the chair. It's a threshold decision how MB Tractor is characterized as to which application will need to go through, because it's pretty much one or the other. When we first began talking about this, I did talk with Dari quite a bit by telephone, and it seemed as though MB Tractor presents a novel set of circumstances in that it's a unique operation. And we were both having a great deal of difficulty, and I think that's probably true, Dari.
Yes,
If I misspeak, please say so. Trying to fit MB Tractor into the categories in the table of uses. So by default, almost, we landed in the automotive in transportation category.
And if I may interrupt you, Counselor, that's the second reason I wanted to get this resolved now, so that we could probably process the variance back in the commercial zone where it belongs, instead of the automotive section.
Okay, well, I think we kind of concluded that if MB Tractor doesn't fit under G,
Yeah.
it would default to the commercial, retail sales, rental, or distribution
Depending
of
on where
goods.
we go with this,
Yeah,
correct? Yeah.
okay. Okay, we're all on the same page
Thank you.
then. So, and I understand code enforcement has to take a strict application of the ordinance and apply it to the facts. But MB Tractor still doesn't fit in our opinion, because we disagree that MB sells, rents, or distributes automobiles or vehicles intended to travel along a public way, which is how a motor vehicle is defined, and there's two different definitions. We'll get into that next. Noteworthy to us when we looked through the table of uses was that RV sales and service are allowed, RV parks are expressly permitted, as are commercial parking lots in the resort commercial district. So, with that said, returning to the three applications, we are requesting you review the merits of the administrative appeal first. So, if we can go to those exhibits that I provided to the board. And when I go to these boards, sometimes I have newer members that aren't all that familiar with everything, so I try to bring everything that I'm talking about. The first map is the zoning map, and to the best of my ability, I kind of pinpointed where the property is at 388 Laconia Road. I noticed that there is two sections of the resort commercial district that's interrupted by a mixed-use district in the middle. But on the map, that's where it shows. Now, the second map that I pulled out, I got from the Natural Resources Inventory on your website. And what I found really interesting here, because MB Tractor actually has an awful lot of equipment and rentals that cater to the farming community. So when I looked at these maps and this report, I've never seen one of these, and VHB did a great job on this, but it actually identifies prime agricultural area, and I was really pretty surprised at how many there were. And they're not that far. In fact, some of them are right near where MB is proposing to set up its operation at this property if the board grants the relief requested. The next map shows active farmlands, and they are a little pale with the copying, but they're outlined in that goldish yellow color. And again, these are actually being used as farmland. And the reason I bring this up, because it goes right to the heart of the type of equipment that MB sells. So I thought that was important, that these are identified as, you know, important natural resources within the town of Tilton by the town itself. Now, the last one is just an overview taken from Google Earth, just to kind of provide, this is how it looks like from the sky. This property is located next to, I'm sure you know this, but I didn't, next to the golf course. And there's an awful lot of vacant land around it. What I found more troubling is immediately to the right where this property is shown. There appears to be like a junkyard that's kind of just sitting there. And across the street, that area has been cleared, and it looks like a proposed pad for a new commercial operation. So moving on to Exhibit B, this is a photograph taken from Google again, at the street view, looking at the property head-on. We have two buildings here, both exceed 3,000 square feet. The tax cards are right after this photo, just to point out that the age of these buildings dates back to 1979.
Yes, I have one quick question, because we're over there today looking at it. What are the size of the buildings?
The first building is 44 by 85.
Okay,
Second,
never mind, because when I was talking to your son, we were settled on 40 by 60, and that's why I said that's not even 3,000 square feet. But what you're telling me is it is actually over 3,000. Okay, that's all, I just wanted to make that clear.
well, town map, I mean, the tax map shows it, exactly.
I only
The
went
tax
by
card.
what he agreed to.
Who?
Your son.
Yeah, but that's
Not
his.
a big deal.
No,
We were
I'm saying,
speculating.
it's right, exact, your town.
I
has
didn't
it.
have that in front of me.
Oh, I'm
Tax
sorry.
cards are in your package.
I'm just saying that.
Yeah, the tax cards are in there for your convenience, there's two of them, but they're both over 3, that's all I know. So, but what I found, important there, because the commercial zone, distinguishes between buildings above 3,000 square feet and below 3,000 square feet in section E. That was why I included them, so that at least the board would know where these buildings fall. The last map is just tax map R21, and it shows the property. As I mentioned earlier, we're next to the golf course. That junky area is to one side, and across the street, most of those properties there are vacant. Now, the next page shows an outside picture of MD Tractor's operation. And you can see the type of equipment that MD sells. I'm not sure, at least I know I haven't, and maybe the board sees this differently. I've not seen any of this type of equipment driving with me along a highway. Moving on, I can see some farm tractors, and can some of these vehicles go on the highway? Yes, they can. They can go down the driveway and go down a short distance, and then they get off the road again, because otherwise they need to be registered by the DMV. Moving on to the next 2 pages, you'll see other types of equipment and other types of replacement parts and service-related items that MD sells to take care of the equipment that it sells, services, and repairs. So just with those things in mind, I thought for informational purposes, those would be helpful when we talk about the definitions that are in the New Hampshire Revised Statute. But first, let's start with the ordinance. Now, the ordinance on page 8 defines a motor vehicle as any self-propelled vehicle not operated exclusively upon stationary tracks, originally intended for use on the public highways. So, this definition is similar to the definition that you'll find in the New Hampshire Revised Statutes in 361A:1, Roman 7. This definition reads, motor vehicles means a device propelled or drawn by power other than muscular, upon which any person or property is or may be transported or drawn upon a highway, excepting power shovels, road machinery, buses, agricultural machinery, house and boat trailers, all-terrain vehicles, snowmobiles, and similar recreational vehicles designed primarily for off-road use. Now, the reason why this is different than the motor vehicle definition that follows in 259:60 is because it's two different contexts. The first one relates to the one that I just read, sales, leasing, and rental of motor vehicles, for which a dealership license is required. The second one, 259:60, is from the Department of Motor Vehicle statutes, where you have to register your vehicles and how much they can charge you for that and all the fees that go with it. Because if you read it carefully, it says, except where otherwise specified in the title, any self-propelled vehicle not operated exclusively on stationary tracks, including ski area vehicles, as used in 261:148 relative to municipal permits for registration. It includes the trailers, the semi-trailers, and goes on and on and on, and talks about the registration. Roman numeral 3, for purposes of financial responsibility. Who pays for it? Number Roman 4 is who pays the tolls, which vehicles have to pay tolls. So if you look at this objectively, the difference between the two definitions is one applies to the dealers and what they sell. The second one applies to the registration and the role of the DMV in that regard. And of course, insurance, motor vehicle insurance. If you look at the next definition, 259:60-a, a motor vehicle business, which is what I believe your ordinance is more referring to, is a business selling automobiles, means a business principally engaged in one or more of the following activities: buying, selling, or exchanging motor vehicles requiring registration, service, collision repair service, reconditioning, restoration, and the sale of parts. For purposes of this definition, principally engaged means that the business derives at least 51% of its annual gross income from the motor vehicle business, or if there was no income in the prior year, 51% of the assets of the business are directly related to the motor vehicle business. So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, does MB derive 51% of its annual revenue from the sale of vehicles driven on the public way?
We don't have 1% of our sales from vehicles public way, we don't, nothing. We don't sell anything that's designed for road use. You know that, you don't live by. It's just a matter of getting this definition figured out, but nothing we sell is for road use. A tractor can be driven on a road, farmers will get permits, so they can go from one plot to another, whatever, but never is it designed, because it's not equipped for road use. It's just, they get, the state allows agriculture people to permit to get from one plot to another or down the street to help.
Commercial traffic.
Help continue to
Be
foster
moved, but-
agriculture and farming. We want to
People don't commute to work. That's
They
the way I
don't.
look at it.
Not in this country.
But I have said,
But I think for purposes of the board and the ordinance and its application, I think that distinction is important, because it really turns on the context of how the term motor vehicle, which I think is thrown around a lot, and you typically don't slice and dice it that finely, but in this context, I think it makes a difference. Now, just to clarify, when these definitions refer to a way, they're referring to a public way, which is a way maintained by the town or city for travel. And I won't, drag the board through all these definitions, but they are here. There's a separate definition under 259:42 for construction equipment. Now, a substantial portion of MB's customer base is small construction. So you've got bulldozers, rollers, scrapers, and you can look through this list. You probably saw a lot of those in the pictures of what MB sells. Tractor, self-propelled, same idea, but having no provision for carrying a load, but shall not include off-highway recreational vehicles not designed or equipped for highway use. I think looking at all these definitions together, it's very difficult to then keep MB in that category of automobile sales. So as to that, unless the board has questions for me, I will leave you with that
The
thought.
question I have is that how would you, okay, if I put a car dealership at Pemby next to it, what are the differences? Not the vehicles. What are the differences in what's in those entities? This is an automobile, this is a tractor.
Oh, so the
Okay,
equipment
so
itself?
this, right.
Okay.
So what would the difference be there in, say, the types of materials used around them, the types of materials that have to be stored, like oils and gasoline and things like that? What would the difference be? Why would tractors be any different than a car dealership in that respect, where there's sales and service going on, where there's, is there any significant difference in what they do?
Well, the car goes a lot faster.
No, that's,
I
no,
will say that.
we're taking the
You're
car
talking
out
about
of
the
it. I'm talking
components.
about the components that are sitting on the ground. Why would we wanna show any difference in how we would treat an automobile dealership and a tractor dealership?
Well,
Because we're talking about spirit of the law here too.
right, and I guess,
Not just the words that are sitting on a page.
and you know, I have to tell you, I was pretty stumped as to understand why automobile dealerships or sales seems to have been targeted almost, not that, that's probably not the correct word, but wholesale excluded from the resort commercial district, because to your point, you mentioned about the fluids, and it's definitely a concern. You get hazardous waste permits and all that, and you've got all these best management practices to talk about. But your ordinance allows RV sales and service, which has the same thing. In fact, maybe they're bigger than what you find in a typical motor vehicle. I don't understand what the purpose was excluding it. And when I was driving down here from the highway tonight, I have to say, and I come off the highway and headed down this way, there was this huge dealership, I don't even know the name of it. And I looked at it and I said, well, yeah, 20 of those in a row would really look terrible. Because it does, there's a lot of vehicles, they're lined up, they're up close to the road. But I think that's a far cry from what MB's proposing here. I mean, here you've got a lawn, you've got controlled inventory, it looks nice, it's organized.
I think aesthetically,
Yeah,
nobody wants a bunch of car dealerships on roads after like, it's always you see car dealerships end up in one spot
I'd
in
like
every
to go
town.
back to the definition.
Yeah.
I mean, all this is great, but, and we'll be pursuing it soon. But right now, my concern is just dealing with this motor vehicle definition, if you
Okay.
don't mind.
okay.
Can I just throw a question to George? I'm not sure I understood your question.
I'm
not
just
sure I
questioning
can
why
either.
why we would be treating, you know, if we don't want automobiles, why we would be treating tractors. I mean,
Well, why isn't the
but I'm
simple
saying-
answer is that one is intended for use on the highways and the other is intended for
But-
use?
No, I understand the vehicle. You know, I understand what
Yeah, that was
the
another
difference of the
question, right?
vehicle is, but I'm.
His
my
question really didn't answer
more-
your question.
was more to the general view of how they're sold and how they're done. There's really no difference aside from the actual creature.
But there's no difference between that and RVs either. It's a different question than distinguishing motor
Right,
vehicles
right,
from what we do.
right.
The other thing is aesthetically, things that people use for lawn and garden, maintaining their homes, properties, tractors, equipment, mowers, things like that. If you see a facility like that, you know, it's a little bit more attractive aesthetically in some areas. Car dealerships, people wanna keep car dealerships away from certain areas too. I mean, I think a lot of towns don't wanna have a bunch of used car lots on the strip sometimes. And they do things. And if they do wanna keep used car lots from an area, then I think that
Did you have any other
zoning for
information
used car lots should
regarding the
require certain
definition of
facilities that
motor
look like they
vehicles?
belong there.
This is what I brought
That's the
that
extent of it?
I thought was most
Yeah.
Yeah,
important.
it is. You nailed it real good. Thank you very much. Does anyone else have any other input relative to the definition of motor vehicles?
She did a
If
good
not,
job with that.
if not, I'm going to close this to a public sentiment then, and allow the board to discuss it amongst themselves. That's okay?
Fine with me.
Okay. So, I think my own personal opinion is that our definition in the ordinance of a motor vehicle is woefully deficient. How do you feel
I'm pretty good.
Yeah,
Dave?
the fish.
about it?
I concur.
Oh, that's it?
Well, I mean,
Okay,
I mean,
No,
I mean, I can
It's too general.
understand in reading our definition, which is a form of abbreviated
Yeah.
RSA with a few original words thrown in at the end, that changes the meaning entirely. And it leaves one wondering, still, when they read the definition of motor vehicle, what was originally intended for use on a public highway? There's really no explanation. So, if there's no other discussion relative to this, and everyone's in agreement, I think we need to have a motion at this point.
well, if it's okay with you, why don't we have each board member express his opinion of how a difference should be
That's
Well,
not bad.
addressed?
How it should be addressed?
Yes.
Let's start with,
In other words, how
Dan.
would each board member look at it, as far as tractors and equipment versus automobiles and trucks, for example? Kind of get a feel for where, we're gonna draw a line somewhere.
that's what I was actually trying to get
It's
at.
not a bad idea.
I don't see a difference.
Okay?
I don't significantly see a machine that has an internal combustion engine, that has gears, that, whether it's heavy, low gears to move a big chunk of dirt or rock,
Mhm.
and a car, from its, just basis. I mean, they're not even manufactured that much differently in a factory. So I think they're the same thing, and I think but our definition doesn't allow for that. That's where I see the issue.
Okay.
So I think they should have all been, but I don't know that that's what's happened with our.
Well, are you saying that everything is then a motor vehicle?
Yes.
Is my garden?
I mean, not a vehicle. No, I'm saying that I think the definition is wrong. I think it should have been something that encompassed much more than a car.
So anything with an internal combustion engine?
Sort of,
They
but
all
I mean, it
have
needs
gas
more,
and
I'm not gonna write
No, I don't.
write a thing right here, but what I'm saying is I don't see a huge difference in what you do and what AutoServe
You're
does,
basing
except
that,
in the size.
you're basing that on the words any self-propelled vehicle.
Yeah,
I thought so.
But they,
but I mean, for the spirit of what should be said, that's what I'm saying. But I'm not saying I don't know how anybody would be able to address that coming in here with what's written in the.
Kathy, do you have any idea, any thoughts on this?
No, he said it.
You said it. And Marina?
I agree.
Can I ask one thing?
Mr.
Just say
Myers?
this, what was the original intent to not have motor vehicles in that area?
I think I can answer that, because I did work for the town at the time. And
Go ahead,
essentially
Jim.
what it came down to is the fact that everybody and his mother could go buy a couple of cars down at the wholesale lot and open up a used car lot.
Right.
And that's what we
Who
were
knows what
trying
it'll
to
look like.
avoid. And that's what was starting to
So
happen.
instead, you maybe should have wrote some kind of, so in RSA town saying that, if you're gonna have a used or car facility, these are the requirements. You should have wrote a strict statute for a used or a new car facility that would be on the road that would say, it have to be so many square feet, it would have to have the look of the buildings, it would have to have so much, you know what I mean, things like that. If you're gonna do that,
Statute.
versus boxing everything out.
The statutes already specify that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we didn't need to do anything within the town. I mean,
Yeah.
that was one of the things that does exist.
But originally writing that this way boxes out all of the things that really weren't under the intent of the original, you know, rule you put in place.
I don't disagree with you. I guess, I'm really not sure what George is saying. I guess.
I'm saying that.
No,
Yeah,
let me
okay.
just finish, okay? My own opinion is the fact that there is a distinct difference between vehicles that are not used on the roads, although they can drive there, but if they're registered or on your own property, that ag equipment should not be considered motor vehicles from an ordinance point of view.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
really,
I
that's all
understand
I'm
what you're
really going
saying,
for.
yeah,
The way our ordinance is written, yeah, it includes everything, and it shouldn't, because it isn't relative to the, what the real intent is.
No, I'm
to
saying
mean
that
a
the
motor
basis
vehicle.
of this is really looking at the type of business that is being done, which is not much difference in essence.
Like the lawn and garden ag business
Well,
compared.
no, tractors, sales and service, you know, servicing the motors. There's different types of motors, but they're, I mean, in essence, it's the same thing.
But for the
It is,
purposes,
but, like you're gonna say, that for the purpose of the definition.
Well, not the definition of motor vehicle. I don't think we have a good definition of motor vehicle. That's what I'm saying.
But that's what we're supposed to be working on right here and now.
Right. That's why I'm saying that I don't see the difference though. Okay.
okay, so what
Yeah,
we need,
we're not gonna
what we
solve
need
that
to
right now.
decide is, relative to the equipment, the type of equipment that is sold by MB Tractor, do we consider that equipment to be a motor vehicle or not? Am I correct? Is that where we're going with this? As
Well, that's just
as
one.
defined in the ordinance.
God, I hate it when you say
I
that.
know, I know.
Yeah, I think that's
We don't have
the
any
basis of the
choice.
problem is the
I-
definition is.
But,
Can you take away the define that's in the ordinance?
well, what we're
Well, we know
looking
what
at
the
here,
ordinance
what we're
says.
looking at here, let's get down to brass tacks. Was this equipment that is being sold by MB Tractor or any other tractor dealer in the area originally intended for use on public highways?
No.
Okay, everybody agrees that?
Well, now, let me clarify that. There are some stuff over there that you have, that can be operated.
May be operated.
Yes, it can be.
But
Yeah.
was it originally
Not-
intended
that's
to
not
be
it.
used on
You
the
can't even
highway?
operate on a highway, you can probably
It's not.
operate on
No.
a class
No.
C
I
road
say
up
no.
to 20 miles an hour or something, you know.
Well, fairly large.
He said it right.
Fairly large loader backhoe.
So what else-
Frequently
what else
travels.
is
Not on a highway though,
That's
Not
it.
long.
not on a highway.
Well,
I
they're really annoying
don't sell
around
big,
Sure, it
I don't sell
sounds-
those though, but.
The town drives up and down Route 3 all the time with a loader backhoe.
Yeah, but that's with the hazard light on and with a plate that's allowed so you can go from job to job, but it's not designed to go to school, go to the
No,
store,
it's not.
and get coffee and.
Right,
Yeah.
I
I
agree
think
with
we're
you.
in agreement.
But all I'm getting is that some of the stuff can be
Right.
operated over the
Right.
road, although that's not its primary purpose. It's
Right.
just to get someplace to do a job.
Then if everybody seems to be in agreement that the equipment that's sold by MB Tractor was not originally intended for use on the highway. We are looking at basically a reversal of this administrative decision.
Mhm.
Do I hear a motion to that effect? Is anybody brave enough to do that?
I'll move it.
Okay. One way or
I
the other.
move that the administrative, I don't know how to word that, administrative appeal be overturned, or the administrative
Reversal of this
reversal,
let's
that
see.
this, based on this
Mm,
comment.
I guess the
Enforcement
issue,
officers determine.
the appeal would be upheld.
Yeah, we appeal it,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, that would be the best thing.
Okay. So I move that we uphold the appeal and in favor of the applicant.
Okay, you done? Okay. I was gonna say to add to that motion, if you would consider it, that the equipment that is not intended to be operated over the road, for future reference, should not be considered a motor vehicle as per the ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
Accept
Does
that.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Equipment that is not intended to be used, how'd you do that?
Over the road,
Over the road.
that's not its
On
primary.
public ways.
Okay,
Mhm. Okay.
You
You
good?
accept that?
I accept that.
Changed it, okay.
I'm second.
All right, and you seconded it?
Mhm.
So moved and seconded to uphold or approve the appeal. And, yeah. Are there any other discussion there? No other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. That brings us now to case 15-14, 15-14. Which is an application pursuant to zoning article 6.1.g, Roman numeral 6, 1G,
Six IG?
IG. I guess that's.
No, excuse me, sorry, it's a Roman numeral 1, it's something that.
Yeah, it is
commonly
it
biz.
is one,
There's,
1G.
yeah, the table is divided into principal uses and primary uses.
To allow for sales, service, display, and storage of landscaping and light construction equipment and machines at 388 Laconia Road in the Resort Commercial District, tax map R21/2. And I think the question now, since the appeal was approved for that motor vehicle description, we can probably change the article and reference back to Roman numeral 6, i.e., what is that, 1B?
If I could,
Commercial?
if I could help,
Does that sound feasible?
well, I think the application.
1B,
Yes.
E1B.
Yeah. E1B, no, that's for the special exception. E1 would be
Yes.
for retail sales, rental, distribution. The only thing that's not covered there would be service. Correct? Which you would have in the automotive section.
Retail
And he's
sales.
they're looking for service as well.
Wait a minute.
Sales, display, storage.
Not in that number 1, or not in the first one.
I believe. the-
Sales, service, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, sales, service,
Yeah.
display, and storage, yeah.
I believe that we would be withdrawing the application for variance because,
Because that solved your problem for motor vehicle.
yes,
Yeah.
so
We're back to.
if I could move to withdraw the application for a variance and take that off your list.
Well, mhm. That would depend, if this were withdrawn, then that would prevent us from any discussion regarding the types of equipment that would be displayed or sold?
I think we need to have that discussion.
I do too.
So the problem is I see light construction equipment,
Yeah.
okay?
All right, so, do you concur, the other board members concur that we should go ahead
I think we have to have that discussion.
and have that discussion?
Would that be more sensible?
I have to deny your request, and I'm sorry. We're gonna
Okay.
go ahead and leave it as is,
On this
and process it.
application for
The
variance?
variance, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what am I looking for a variance from if this is requesting it from,
Well, for one thing,
I think I'm confused now.
if we go ahead and reference Roman number 6, IE 1, in the commercial zone,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you would be looking for a variance to provide service. And display storage of landscaping and light construction equipment and machines.
Well, if we could back up for a minute.
Yeah,
Let's think for a second about the special exception, if we could switch gears for a second.
mhm.
Would that cover retail sales, rental, or distribution of the products that MB has displayed in that photograph that I showed you? The tractors and the snow blowers and what have you.
Okay, I just want to look up something before I answer that.
Sure.
You could be right.
I'm just looking at the table of uses.
Yeah, I understand. Simplify this as much as we can.
Is this, excuse me, similar to the stuff that's that you have up in Belmont, up on the side of the road? Is this, the stuff you're gonna keep here is similar to what you're using on
Oh.
the site in Belmont?
Yeah,
for-
but next to the
right?
studio?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there's one big machine I put there because it looks like a
Oh, no,
train.
I'm
Yeah.
just in general.
Okay.
I've
No,
I've
yeah.
noticed it's
We
just
put
small
with
stuff,
tractors,
lights, you
maybe-
had construction lights out there, you know. for
Those are
working
stored
light.
there because I have no place to put them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I ran out of room.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, obviously, we were out of room.
Yeah.
There's the idea of all this, is have some room, but also have a nice display for our product while it's there, if we have in front, because it's on the other side of the highway also, we're on this side. The other side isn't a bad thing, people travel that way. So, but it would be, it's mostly you can see what you see with the
That
Kubota
size.
product.
That kind of
Yeah,
scale of stuff.
zero turn mowers, lawn and garden, like in the summertime, if we put some lawn and garden mowers or zero turn mowers on the hill like that on display, something like that, things like that, just to create, people see it.
What about the big excavators and stuff that you have at Naples?
Here?
Yeah.
No, nobody can go there, nothing big would go there at all.
Well, would I be safe in assuming that you're making reference to lawn and garden and small ag equipment?
And typically our Kubota product, I would have no reason to bring bigger items there because I don't want it, this is just a
So the
satellite
little
location for
shovels,
us.
the little,
Little, I mean,
front end loader, back.
yeah, you can
back
have tractor
loader
loaders, we
type
can have the
thing,
skid steers and stuff on
I
there
just,
displayed, but
I wanted to make sure.
the intent of big, like, 40,000 pound excavator, if you like I have my big Terex and my big New Hollands, no, those, I don't want them there because there's no benefit in having them there. And, that shop would be equipped to handle them there, this is a small place. It's just a satellite location for us for now.
Would you say similar to the John Deere entity down in Concord? I'm very familiar with that.
TNT's, on the back
TNT.
of there, yeah, he doesn't have anything, he's got mostly, he doesn't have any construction.
No, it's all ag
Right.
equipment.
Like we sell mini excavators to landscapes, I would have some mini excavators, on the line there, but we sell some landscapers. and-
Similar to these that are in this picture.
Yeah, the minis, not the
Yeah.
big ones.
Yeah,
Minis
this-
are only up to 18,000
These right here,
pounds.
these,
Look at these, Mark.
Relative to
Took
what
your
you said
photos
earlier,
from here.
maybe we
Down on
can
that
have
right
that
hand side.
discussion right here.
Yeah. nothing big. Yeah, like you see, anything in my photos here, just fine. Yeah. That's considered light construction. Okay.
I mean, you may make it apply under special exception type thing, is that what you're getting at?
Well, if we could have that discussion here as to the types of sales display.
Yeah, I can see where you could do that. Yeah.
Does that help you? Okay.
Well, no, let me think on this a second. A variance being more significant than a special exception,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm getting at. How do we draw a line between landscaping and ag equipment and light construction? Where does light construction stop and become other than light
You
construction?
would have to
Do you
make
have the
that a
industrial?
condition.
I'm sorry?
Is there an industrial definition between these smaller machines and?
I mean,
Do you have something
making
you
it
want
help
to
you
add?
categorize it, or
Yeah, I think, not accepting a request to withdraw a request for relief from the zoning ordinance, a little bit odd, and I wonder, I think there is perhaps opportunity to address some of the nuances of the site through a conditional, if there were an approval of case 1515, there could be conditions placed upon it to address.
Well, that's what I was looking up earlier.
I know
whether-
you, I know,
whether
and
we could-
I don't want to take credit, I
Yeah,
know
you
you
too.
were thinking the same thing. The other
Well, I
thing to
wouldn't give you
consider.
credit. No, go ahead. I'll delete
The
it.
other thing to consider is that should the necessary approvals be granted here tonight, there would be a site plan review hearing before the planning board at another opportunity for such
Oh, absolutely.
details to be
Absolutely.
worked.
Yeah.
So
Change
just,
before
just,
site
you know,
plan.
food for thought,
Change and expansion
Um,
of use would dictate that, yeah.
absolutely.
Where could you draw the line? Engine size, 30 horse? 40 horse?
How big is your tractor?
Mine is 30.
Okay. How big is
30
Tom's?
and 30 and 225s.
How big is Tom's?
About the same, except it's diesel.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe if you're barking at the wrong tree here, you might be categorizing what you, maybe by category, maybe by lawn maintenance equipment versus farming equipment, light construction. Limit it to lawn maintenance and implements, lawn maintenance, being garden tractors. Does that fall within lawn maintenance?
That's pretty,
But your lawn maintenance and my lawn maintenance may be two different things.
yeah.
I mean, my
I'm just
lawn
thinking
maintenance.
out loud. that's
I
all.
could use a small excavator on my place.
Yeah.
Mine's a weed whacker.
Lawn and garden. Lawn
Is
lawn
it
and garden
electric?
equipment? Lawn-
Yes,
Lawn and
It's
garden
mine.
equipment?
Yeah.
Why is this?
What's that?
I don't understand.
I think we're,
They don't want large.
I think I'm trying to help
Yeah,
out
go ahead.
Joe.
The site wouldn't be good with, you know, huge
Yeah,
excavators.
I think the
things like that.
concern is that, you know, you might see excavators out there.
In the front of the building, you mean? Okay, okay.
Am I right? You don't want to see excavators and
But-
that sort of stuff.
Yeah, right,
the spaces.
Would you object to something that big? I mean, these are just little fence and landscape issues.
Right, that's what it said.
Actually,
Picture I brought.
I don't see it.
I don't see, I see that as more something that contractors will buy, not homeowners and stuff like that.
Landscaping.
Good.
How was it gonna go into landscaping? There's a difference between landscaping and gardening.
That's a contractor.
He mentioned, Mr. B mentioned,
It's still,
that he would be
still
doing
a trailer.
garden tractors and that sort of stuff out
Mhm.
there on the hill.
Yes, but not excavators and
Okay, so how do we separate, and that's what Joe was asking.
Oh,
How do we
okay.
define it? Where do we draw
That's
the
what I was
line?
asking for a
Can we-
definition.
Is
Lawn and
the-
gardens versus landscaping?
Are these objectionable?
Well, yeah, some of those could be used for landscaping purposes.
Well, I'm looking at the size of what's in these photos.
You've got some commercial equipment in here.
Yeah, you do.
Well, a commercial landscape.
So when you show that,
Light construction's clean.
well,
You know, and, you know, and,
that is,
and, you know.
as far as I'm concerned, you're going beyond, going beyond the lawn and garden and ag equipment. In other words,
Okay.
I'm not even sure what this is. It looks like a Terex loader, I'm not sure.
Which one?
Okay, the white, one with the white engine cover, okay, and the,
This is water equipment.
But
and the ones to the right of them. I mean, that's not something that a homeowner would buy.
I think this is what, more
That's
like
something
what Joe's
contractors
got,
would buy.
would buy, all that equipment inside the building.
yeah.
Lawn and garden maintenance and all that, tillers.
But I guess where I'm struggling is, where in the ordinance does it say you can't, I mean, if we've determined that, this is where I'm coming from. Okay, we don't fit under G, automotive and transportation, we've come to that conclusion,
Correct.
and I hear you. Now, we're not sure where we fit, but the default is retail sales, rental, and distribution of goods and merchandise.
Yeah,
Okay,
To me, when you get into light, you're getting into industrial. On H1B.
H1B.
Yeah.
This is manufacturing, processing, repairing, assembling of goods and merchandise. That's not retail sales, rental, or distribution. We don't fit in industrial at all. This is sales and rental of goods
yeah.
and equipment.
Mhm.
And outdoor display under 1C is expressly allowed. Now, I think if the board wants to say the equipment has to be set back, if it's outdoors out and you want it set back from the road a certain distance, I mean, I understand.
Yeah, we have that option, for sure.
You sure
The
do?
DOT already does that.
Right.
DOT has rules of how far you can display, you know,
Yep.
off center from the road anyways. You know, 'cause that's the state.
That's really a planning board issue anyway, as far as I'm
It
concerned.
is, pretty much, yeah,
I hate to get into
Yeah.
that area.
That's a good point.
yeah.
But I mean, we're just talking about use now, and then it can get more narrowly tailored at the site plan review. I just don't see big, small. It's basically in the enclosed 3,000 square foot or less, or enclosed 3,000 or more, which requires the special exception which we submitted,
Yeah,
and the outdoor display is
Mhm.
permitted. The planning board can then weigh in, I would think.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Seems like that's all, the only option we have. Because I checked earlier and, you know, it's, I can't see anything that allows us to come up with any sort of limitation.
You surely can condition and make a recommendation to the planning board to consider your concerns at the planning hearing.
Yes, we can.
You sure can.
Sure, well, we can also condition of that answer, special exception too.
The the condition has to further the purpose of the ordinance, and I guess I'm not finding where the size of the equipment, is distinguished.
I guess maybe, I just thought of a different way to phrase this. This is resort commercial area. If it's gonna end up with industrial type equipment in it, then as far as I'm concerned, we've lost the spirit of the ordinance then. Okay, so the question is, how do we limit the type and size of equipment that goes on there, even though it could be theoretically owned by someone? More than likely, it's really construction equipment. and it could be used for industrial use as well as anything else, even though I understand why you don't wanna look at it in that other vein. But the thing is, there is a difference in my view, okay? And I wanna, if we're talking a variance to allow something to come to pass that can never be rescinded, then I think this is the time at which it should be addressed as to what the limit is going to be on the type of equipment that will be there in the resort commercial district.
Okay, now, in the resort commercial district, it says recreation, restaurant, accommodations, small scale retail and service
Yeah.
uses. Okay, we're good with that. And then we go to the table of uses, so we fall into 1B because the building's over more than 3,000 square feet. Now, from a different point of view, if you go down to G9, and now remember, special exception isn't a use that's expressly permitted, subject to conditions under the law. Recreational vehicles and camping trailers, including servicing and repair, are a special exception in the resort commercial. Some of those things are mighty big. In my house, you know.
But we're not talking either one of those.
I understand that, but if this is allowing something that big, it's a different product. I mean, I'm not saying that we have to have something that big, but I guess this is why we're all scratching our heads trying to figure this out. And I'm not saying that Mark has equipment that's that large.
If you stay under the category of light construction, the excavators that I have and sell in Kubota that are considered light construction are not as big as a regular 25-foot or 26-foot RV. That's bigger than my machine. My machine's not 25 feet long. It's shorter than that, it's no taller than that, it's no wider than that, so it's not big. It's up to,
You're right, but what it isn't, it is not a recreational vehicle. It's not something you'd normally have in a resort commercial zone.
well, yeah, but that's only because it sounds like it belongs there. Because you think of resort, and you think of camping, you think of leisure, you think of lounge, so you say, okay, selling campers is okay to have a resort commercial area, but it's got nothing to do with the actual area itself. I think people, when they did that, they think of it because the essence of it sounds good, but it's really got, the selling of campers has got nothing to do with using campers in a resort area. It's two totally different things.
It is
So
totally different.
it sounds like it's resorty because it's a camper, you use it in resorts, but it's got nothing to do with resort. It's a camper, and it's the selling and servicing of a camper.
It's
That's
a-
all.
I understand that people that would be coming into the area with RVs that would need service to begin with, they'd be seeking a business like that.
So they'd be looking for service, not to buy a new RV, one of those big Kahuna things that are as big as a school bus.
Class A.
I mean, they're huge. I can't believe how big they are. So, I mean, and you know, part of the problem is too, products change, rules change, it's all moving. It's hard, there's no doubt. And I don't think I'm hearing from Mark that he's having something out there that's that large, so.
We just don't know what the future might hold. That's the
And-
problem. If we don't have a limit now to come in later, just because we would grant a total approval, and then something would end up out there that just totally doesn't belong there.
But isn't that a matter for the planning board?
Not when it comes to the variance, you're the one asking for the variance, or even a special exception.
Well, we're asking for a special exception because the use is permitted, subject to conditions. So
Correct.
if the board is concerned about anything greater than light construction,
Mhm.
then that would be your condition.
How do we do other difference? That's the question.
The light construction
Yeah, light
equipment is,
construction from heavy construction, where's the difference? Where's the line?
I don't know what's.
If you want right now, I mean, I'll even market this, the largest excavator we sell in Kubota that is considered light construction is 18,000 pounds. Okay,
Is what?
is 18,000 pounds, that's an excavator.
8,000?
18,000.
Oh,
It weighs
18,000.
18,000. That's an excavator that you see in my pictures there, that's it. The wheel loaders, nothing that big, and an 18,000 pound wheel loader would be huge, okay? Excavators are heavier because they're base and all the steel on the bottom, but that's it. So if you limited that, nothing's gonna be great, but the only thing really, skid steers and track loaders are all smaller. They're 8 or 9,000 pounds, they're very compact, they're square. I mean, you could put, in this room, I could fit, 3 or 4 skid steers in this room. Okay, right here. I could fit that 18,000 pound excavator, I could fit in this room, maybe the boom would be a little tall, but I could fit almost 2 of them side by side here, if I tuck the boom in.
So a recess.
So, yeah, if you do that and you wanna put 18,000 pounds in it, then I'm fine with
Limited by
that.
18, limited to 18,000.
Exactly.
Put in the,
Okay, if you want, just as long as it's some kind of.
I'm trying to give you
that's all.
something to work with,
Okay.
you have something solid, that gives you a number.
Yeah.
So you can,
Yes.
so you
No, I
can, so someone can't come in later and say, well, you get to him, I wanna sell Caterpillar, dump trucks here, okay?
Let's assume that you sold the business down the road. If we grant a complete approval and somebody comes in and say,
Good point.
and wants to sell cats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You see D8 sitting out on a highway.
Yeah.
Granted, ridiculous, but the point is, there needs to be a control factor there. So that people, because all the time that I used to work in, we used to have that problem. People would come and say, well, I used to do this, or I used to do that. Well, yeah, that was 20 years ago, maybe you did it, but you haven't done it ever since. So anyway, it needs
that
to
would
be
help,
clarified.
you would curve it, that would curve it.
That would,
If someone wanted to sell big equipment, well, you can't over that, you can't, it's gonna weigh more, it's gonna be bigger, so.
Right.
yeah, that's fine.
Does that help?
That's fine with the rest of the board, to limit it by weight, that's,
Yes, wait.
That's probably a good choice, actually. Because it's something that I think is easily checked. You can look at the model number and look it up.
gonna be on the plate, right on the piece of equipment.
There you go.
You can go to a brochure, I mean, there's nothing to
Yeah.
hide. I mean, you can ask me to tell you, I just don't gonna do it,
That's
You
a
can
good
find
point.
anybody, no one can hide it.
I think 18,000 a little heavy though. 10,000 seemed like it'd make more sense.
What do you sell that's 10,000?
I'm sorry.
What do you sell that's 10,000 pounds, or? I
I
mean, if he said 18's too
Can't
much,
do that, right?
what's
Well, I
10,000?
think 18 sounds a lot because it sounds
They don't wanna
simple,
go
but our machines, our biggest one we have is 18 in Kubota. And that machine, like I said,
that's,
that's like,
that's
put two in this
basically what I
room.
had.
Yeah,
If-
I don't care what they put.
So is it
inside.
about the weight or is it about the size? Because you don't know what anything weighs when you look at it. So you're more concerned about, see, when people drive by, you look going, no one knows what anything weighs, he's more concerned about the look. So I'm giving you a weight because I know nothing over 18 is gonna be bigger than you wanna see that. So him to limit it at 18, limit it at
Okay,
10,
but let me ask you
I mean,
this.
I can take a 10, I can put 4 of them in this room, okay? But
Well,
the 18 isn't bad, it sounds big to him, but you're more concerned about when you drive by, what it looks like, how big it is, versus what it weighs.
For off-road,
I mean,
No, it's just work, it's long
How
hard.
far back from the right of way
So, yeah,
does it
you know, I can
belong?
get that in my colors.
on,
DOT road, yeah.
I'd have to check and see, like, I know in Plastow, we're on 125 there,
Yeah,
and we have to be back a certain amount of feet, in the-
25,
And I'm even
30.
comfortable with small
Do
excavators.
you
The
know?
nearest spot I know of is 33 feet
Okay,
off
so,
the center line.
so we should go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not saying it is that there, but that's the nearest spot I know of on that road.
yeah, and I think you have to be set back even more from the pavement,
And try to
don't you?
condition.
Anyway, sometimes the
There,
town has
there,
it, it's not
there's
right away.
DOT,
Yeah.
generally when they send me in a note
Mhm.
about their required setback, it's from center line. It's a
And on
number
this
of feet
property,
from
you're
the
not gonna have an
center
issue
line.
anyways, because in one spot, it's,
Sounds like you
there's
were-
the swamp or whatever, the water that runs under the road there, you can't put anything there, it's a big drop in.
Yeah,
The
right,
other part's the driveway,
yeah.
and then the other part's a big
Right,
grass hill.
it's a hill.
So we're gonna be on the
It's
hill
very
anyways,
steep.
if anything, or on the ground in the pavement where we have cars,
Specific thing in there.
Yeah,
It's just a little bit different.
You're right.
There's really no
right.
spot,
Yeah,
I
well,
think, get close to the road
At
anyways.
least,
okay.
you can't get around that.
but I
And
think-
the weight's gonna make a machine different.
Mm.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm
No,
fine with the
that's
weight,
just-
I think,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
closer
just
to
have to
10,000,
figure out
that's
what-
5 ton. That covers pretty much all farm ag equipment and small excavators.
Mhm. Okay, so you have asked to withdraw the variance application.
Yes, I have, Jim.
And then if we go that route, we could just process this as case 1515 for a special exception?
Yes.
Is everyone okay with that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Let's do that then.
Okay,
Let's just say case 15-14, variance application is withdrawn. Okay. And we'll move on to case 15-15 for a special exception application pursuant to zoning article Roman numeral 6I, capital E1, small b, to allow for sale, service, display, and storage within buildings exceeding 3,000 square feet at 388 Laconia Road in the Resort Commercial District, tax map R21-2. And I think we've already determined that the buildings measure in excess of 3,000 square feet. Everyone, we've had at least 3 members of the board go and view the site, correct?
That's all, so.
So we're okay there. You don't have to be concerned with the interior, although there are adequate septic and water facilities there. We did confirm that. If there's nothing else, then we're down to this condition that we've been talking about. We're trying to limit what is sold and or displayed at that facility,
I think
not what's serviced or storage. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I think I have to go through the findings of fact to satisfy 11.4 in your ordinance. It's on page 40.
Oh, yes, for the special exception?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
we should, yes, definitely we should.
Not that there's a whole lot we haven't touched upon.
Yeah.
Right.
Has everyone had a chance to look at those findings of fact? Okay. Go ahead anyways.
Okay. 388 Laconia Road is an appropriate location for the
Mhm.
proposed use, because it is a commercial zone, a special flavor, although, and due to the size of the buildings, and because MB does not have the same characteristics as automotive sales, it's visible, it's an area where the town is looking to see commercial use be generated. That brings people to the area, it creates jobs, and the products being sold by MB actually speak to the community and the residents who engage in the types of activities that use this type of equipment. And it also, in this particular context, now having driven out there, it's gonna make that area look more alive, where right now it looks kind of, I guess, quiet is the best word to use. So hopefully it'll be eye-catching and it'll signal things are looking up. I mean, I know that the recovery is taking a little longer to reach the upper areas of New Hampshire, but I think it will definitely give a new look to the area, bring new life. No factual evidence has been found that MB's occupancy will diminish surrounding property values. Adjacent to this particular site is the golf course, and this site is already developed for commercial use, so it's just basically being reinvented. And the other areas are either in disrepair or a vacant land. So there is really no evidence to show that there's any diminution in property values in this area by MB occupying that site. No known objection from abutters based upon demonstrable fact has emerged. The property owners here and the abutters were notified, and nobody has complained that we're aware of. And most of that land is vacant and being offered for sale. No nuisance or hazard is involved with this particular use. MB occupies another site very close to this particular area. No evidence that it's a nuisance or a hazard there. any activities MB engages in, repairs and sales, or any type of activities done on the equipment that it sells is done under the state of New Hampshire guidelines and using best management practices. Adequate and appropriate facilities are available at the site. Former owner has occupied this building for more than 30 years. No evidence that the facilities have failed, and I think the board has been there to see that the septic and well are adequate. It says here that there's an adequate area for a storage disposal. Should there be a need to replace the system, there's more than adequate land available at this site for that purpose, and presumably everything is fine on the site as we speak. So I think that's all we have to I had to cover on that, unless I missed something.
No, I don't think you missed anything. Thank you.
Okay.
Did you folks want to have any input into that? Any comments regarding this before?
Only one. Floor Show Corporation is 36 years in the making. We've had a downturn since '06. I've had to let a lot of people go. I think by Mark buying the property under the condition I have been since '06 is only depleted what I can do for the area. Because we replaced that with the two biggest flooring retailers in the country. To make it short, he can offer the community something I can't any longer. And we put Tilton on the map for floor covering as the largest stocking deal in the state.
Yeah.
But my racks are empty. I have no employees. You looking at him? He can bring jobs. He can bring life back into that building that was built before its time. Solar. It's running right now. Not right now. That I can't offer. I'm sorry. I've had to let 25 people go.
Yeah.
And the town created that issue by allowing that kind of competition, simply. And
How would you have stopped it?
Maybe you can't.
That's the problem, you can't stop it.
I'll be very honest.
Yeah.
I started on my knees. I built a good store. I started this recession with 350,000 sitting on the shelf. You can't walk away from it. I owned the building since '87. I was forced to stay and grew through 9 years of losses. I tell people now, don't let your assets be your liabilities. 300,000 sitting on the shelf owned, the property owned, 25 people working in '06 hit this place bad, and we all know it. The demand stopped for floor covering. And the ones that had picked up the demand were the two biggest retailers in the country. So I can't offer any more to this community than I've done for 38 years.
You could sell tractors.
Maybe you'll give me a job.
No, I didn't see it.
It'll be good for the community.
Right.
And I was trying to say, a lot of his equipment is recreational. The guy that retires and buys a backhoe or
Hobby
rides,
farmers, yeah.
people enjoy cutting their
We know them all.
grass.
They're all over the place. People buy a piece of property, they buy a piece of land, they buy a mini excavator, a tractor, and they work it. They have fun, you know, whatever. I think that the last 10, 20
That's
years.
what I believe.
Thank you. I did buy carpet from you, by the way.
I hope we
Back in
did.
the early eighties.
But the Home Depot and the Lowe's, when
You
they did
still
them,
have it?
They put all the small
Good
lawn and
stuff.
garden guys out of business.
Yeah.
You know, remember the old days, you used to buy a snowblower, a lawnmower, and a push mower?
Mhm.
Well, they're gone. Now, we have it, but if we didn't have the other stuff, we couldn't sell it. But
Sell it.
you go to Home Depot, Lowe's, you buy a snowblower, or a push mower, or a riding tractor, you can't go there and get service or parts for it though.
No.
Once you buy it, you gotta come to me.
Yeah.
That's right.
So without us, they're useless, but, you know, we get used in that manner, because you go buy it from them, then you gotta go to the dealer to get service later.
Yeah.
But they took it, because they'll sell things for loss leaders for nothing to get people in to buy the others to make money on, but the lawn and garden and all the smaller stuff that people use in their homes,
Yeah.
they took that business away from everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hundreds of those things.
Right.
But, yeah, it's gone, yeah, it's the way life is, nothing we do about it, so you gotta find a way to,
Yeah.
we say, hey, once it breaks, where are you gonna go? You're gonna come to me anyways. My price is similar, I have service. So, that's kind of what we do. Yeah, business stuff.
And jobs we need in this area, so.
We do.
It's a general statement. Yeah, it's only recommend that, no. That really means nothing, if it's a recommendation.
If I could just add a couple things to what Mr. Butts had to say, I think he made some good points. I mean, there comes a time when things do need to change, but
Sure.
Tilton's a pretty small community, you know that better than I do. But in your master plan, it talks about preserving its rural character and supporting agriculture and open space as well as recreation. The 2000 census that it discussed ad nauseum found in the economics section, 39% of the people who work in Tilton, who live here also, are working residents in the industries where some of the equipment MB sells is used. And I think that is probably partly why MB has been so successful here, is because it's also serving the community, not the fair weather tourist that comes up here once a year in the warmer weather and leaves it messes behind for all of you. So I think Mr. Butts, his point is well stated, and it's also important to notice your population has changed only 3% over 10 years between 2000 and 2010. There's very little growth. So serving those who are here is of primary importance to anybody in business in this area.
I don't think there's any question about what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's really,
Very appropriate.
Good corporate citizen here.
there could be a number of different entities that could come under that location
Yeah.
and serve the community. No question about it.
But there's not a lot of business coming to town because there's not a lot more people here to serve just yet.
So the opportunity to continue the use of that facility is good. We can, rather than to see it go vacant.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I kind of share the sentiment that, I have a vision of small lawn and garden equipment on that hill out there, being displayed
On top of the septic system.
right in the vicinity. Yeah.
Round, under,
Where it's-
That's where we should worry about the tonnage.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely,
Well,
yeah.
If you promise.
But I know that we're, as a zoning board can only, we have our limitations as to what we can do with this in the form of special exception. So I'm really lost where to go at this point, if we're gonna condition this thing at all. I don't know.
if I might just throw this out, in the usual aspect that we have here where Mark has a significant business covering equipment ad nauseum, all the way up to whatever. Just 3 miles down the road from what we're proposing here now, that there's no reason that I can see that equipment of the heavier weights and things like that needs to be located in this location,
Transfer down.
okay? I mean, if somebody comes in and wants a 18,000-pound excavator, who's ever worked in the sales that day can say, well, we've got a dozen of them right down the road there, you're welcome to go down there, and we can take care of all this heavy equipment down there. So we really don't need it in this little acre and a half, acre and a three-quarter location. Okay, that's, it's not like he's
That makes sense.
not located in Tilton to begin with. He is, and it's not that far away. So the location itself lends itself, from what I can see, to a lawn and garden and agricultural type thing of that which would be in the immediate area. And I use myself as an example of having a piece of property where I have tractors and deal with the fields and the thing like that. And that's the way I see it as far as what should be in that location. Okay, I don't want to see big equipment there, because I think it's out of place.
Yeah, given the layout of the entranceway and the hill itself, it's really not conducive to moving large pieces of equipment down the area.
No, and the small excavators, they wouldn't be a problem, they're certainly under 10,000 pounds.
It wouldn't work for you. I mean, bringing a big truck in there with a big piece of equipment doesn't make sense. There's no place to turn around. It's not what we want to do.
No.
I agree, I
No,
agree.
because you have the buildings in the way.
No, and ultimately, we want to build another building again, when our building sells someday with a bigger facility, stuff like that. This is just giving us some breathing room for a while too. And we think we're gonna get some, people are gonna see us, get some exposure. We're being on this side of the highway. A lot of people don't even ever see us because they don't go right. They always go left to go to the lake,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So that helps too. So it's a little bit of both, you know? We just want to gain any opportunity we can gain with the customers and or people, you know, knowing that we're there. You know, and it's an advertising point at the same time also to go by and see our product.
Could I suggest that if Mark has to go to the planning board for site plan review, because we don't have with us this evening examples of what things weigh and their height and width and size in relation to the site, and haven't thought that through particularly, could we leave that issue of limits on the size to be examined in detail by the planning board during the site plan approval in relation to the site and the buildings as to what's appropriate in that location, rather than just arbitrarily picking numbers now?
Well, that's
That's
the way I
what
feel too.
concerns me.
That's concerning me too.
Mm.
And that's probably the most appropriate venue for that.
At least then we can kind of get somebody to put it on the plan and show it next to the building and make a, fact-based decision rather than just guessing.
How do you guys feel about that?
And that's what, one of the things I was thinking about, I thought a lot of this does go to the planning board.
Yeah, but
Because you're gonna have to
it's here
address
for the
that.
special exception. That's where we went through all the
Right. Well, we're
findings of
doing is
fact.
saying that it's okay to do that. They then would put the limits on it.
But that's not relevant what the planning board does. I mean, as far as type of equipment, they usually don't get involved with that unless it would be a safety thing or something of that nature, but.
Well, they're gonna have to address what's there, where the snow storage, you're gonna have to address all those things. You know, so there's gonna be enough room here, the snow storage, and you got the swales and things are gonna
I
have
was
to
gonna
be
put it
dealt
across
with.
the street.
Yeah.
Far enough
You gonna
to-
tell Jerry that?
I can't, no, that's what Belknap built. I can't see how they were allowed to dump snow with winter swamp right there, all that snow. The storage issue,
You talk about an
the rules and
excavator.
laws and
I saw that,
regulations with.
they had some idiot up there in that excavator.
Yeah.
driving around on that snow while it's melting, I'm saying, that guy's gonna turn over. It was a huge.
It's snow, it's got sand, it's got salt, it's got road debris in it, and they're allowed to dump it there, just because it became certified by the state as a, you know, a responsible haul, but it's still the same snow that gets pulled out of every parking lot, that we're not supposed to put, you know, I've heard all the rules, you know. And when I saw it, I was like, what the heck, you know, I think that's not you guys, but,
No. That's all state.
yeah.
Here at the planning board, you'll have a plan, it'll be sized, they'll consider how it gets in, gets out, what sits on a slope, what's too high, the weight in, like Mr. Butts mentioned, the septic system, what's reasonable ingress and egress. With a directive from this board, I'm sure that they will take that into consideration during the approval process. And we'll make sure we bring sufficient information to submit to them for approval.
Okay. All right, is there any other discussion then? Do I have can I get a recommendation on
Recommendation.
that? Motion, I'm sorry.
It's getting late.
Are we ready to make a motion on this? Because if we do, I think the motion, if we are going to move to approve, we're going to have to include service display and indoor storage, which has been asked for, but it doesn't really specify in the reference.
Well, I mean, that's basically what's covered under special exception.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
so
know,
as
I don't have a problem with sales, service, and display,
okay,
and storage. I have no problem with those issues. The only thing is, to me, is what is important is to limit the size of equipment that goes on the lot.
yeah,
That's the only thing I'm concerned about at this point in time. The rest all fits there in that zone.
It
I have
does,
no
yeah.
problem with that.
that's where we're hung up though.
Could we set a 10,000 pound limit? And it's always available
On display,
to some, I think, you know, on display, on the site, if you will. I mean, I don't care whether it's inside or outside, it's just the kind of equipment that is there, the size of equipment that's there. And if he doesn't, if he can't work with that, then let him come back before the board again to modify the special exception.
We have to commit.
Well,
It's not like it's, you know, locked him into any particular thing.
so we wouldn't modify that to display of equipment not greater than 10,000.
He doesn't work with waste, but it's
Uh,
not either. So we saw it, so.
To allow sales, service, and display, and storage of equipment,
18 is considered,
within
for our class, but
3,000,
he said I can fit
Oh, okay.
two 18-pound power machines in,
storage,
you know.
sales, service, and
Because
display,
they're no wider than
storage.
the trailer that goes on the road, they're only like 100 inches, whatever.
I don't like picking arbitrary numbers, I just don't know.
I guess we gotta ask more words in for storage of lawn and garden and
This is what would be the.
light construction equipment, 10,000 pound or less.
That's arbitrary.
Well, it may be, but things have to have a limit.
Well,
And I don't like to let things go that do not have a limit, because I've seen what happens when they do.
what about a size then? How many feet tall by how many feet wide? You could have something
That doesn't make any difference to me. I mean, it could theoretically, but I mean, weight to me would dictate.
That's what I'm saying, you're
the
using weight
overall
to dictate
size.
size, but I could have something that's 10,000 pounds, that could be,
It could be
I
this
could bring you a
size.
10,000 pound, you know, one machine's a lot bigger than a 10,000 pound another machine, is what I meant, that's all. It's, you have something in your mind of what you don't want to see there, so you're trying to correlate that to poundage and what you want to see.
Well, that's where it's leading to. That was not my initial
No, I said
Anyway, that's what-
18,000 gives us the mini excavators that we sell. We can go 18,000 pound and down, we cover that. And then we don't have anything
Under
bigger than
18.
that, I don't want anything bigger than that, but.
And less than how many feet tall? How tall are
Hold
those
this way.
marked?
It tall wise,
Yeah.
Why
it's,
don't you
it's low, it's low enough that it can be on a trailer and still be under the bridges at 13.6, okay? So it's probably, I'm gonna give you the height right now.
I don't care about the height. Why are we talking about the height? Why did you bring that up?
Because you're bringing up size.
I'm bringing up weight.
What's weight,
Well-
I mean,
I can put an 18,000 pound piece of steel, it's a 4x4 sitting in the lot there.
right,
I mean, pounds is really nothing to do. I gave you pounds to
Right.
give you a limit to cap it, because I know something 18,000 pound is gonna be small enough to make you happy. You know what I mean? So if I can put a 38,000 pound machine there, and you say, wow, that's big. Well, that's why I brought the weight down to 18,000 pounds, so it gives you something that, because you are using your eyes to determine what you want there and don't want there. You're not using a scale.
right.
You have no idea what they weigh.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I wouldn't deny that.
Yeah.
But that's all I have to work with at the present time.
That's why I'm giving you a
If,
number.
have you got a picture of something at 18,000 pounds?
Well,
We
yeah.
did.
It's, actually, right, let me see what's here.
These,
So if we went,
I had some other ones too.
I can see this one here now.
Mhm.
we went with, allow the sales service, display and storage of lawn and garden and light construction equipment within the buildings.
It is the end of it. These are
Okay.
all, those
Would
are
that
all
be close?
anywhere, so
You want to put
Some
this?
more
6 or 8,
pictures.
8 way down the short end. Okay, the ones in that room. That
Or
was just a
just-
small picture, but.
Yeah.
Trying to bring one up.
So it'd be up to the,
What's it right? Try to bring it up right now. But then go in, you don't have the
Those
next
are all
page inside now.
inside, yeah.
You move the rows.
What's this? How much does
They're all
that weigh?
track. Oh, those are 3.
Nothing back quick enough in this end of the line. As far as I'm concerned, that's construction equipment. That's not
That
farm.
landscapers use that.
Yeah, these are all in the excavators.
Yeah.
Every farmer has an excavator, or
This
most
is
of
what
them
a
have an excavator.
landscaper uses, or.
And every
farmer.
landscaper owns one of those. If there's any kind of landscape, you know. that's one of those.
These are all inside. You've got a lot of farmland. in
Is this the kind of stuff that you're talking about displaying up there? Mark?
First of all, that's my main road. I would have 3 or 4 of them there. I'm not, like I said, I would have some tractors there, but I would have some skid steers or track loaders. I would have tractors, I'd have 0-turn mowers, whatever we sell. So we have a representation of what we sell.
So when somebody pulls into the driveway, where are they gonna park?
Exactly. I didn't say I'm gonna put, no, I'm gonna put them where.
With so much equipment there, I would drive by.
Would it be on the pavement, Mark, or on
It's
the
gotta be
lawn?
over, I can't, well, first of all, I can't take all the parking and turnaround spots.
Right,
So
right.
I can't put a bunch of that.
That's
I
not a
just
big
gotta put-
Planning board wouldn't
It's
let
not,
you
I'm
do
not gonna
it.
put a row there like that, I'm just gonna put enough to show representation of what we have and what we
Right.
offer. Yeah, I can only put what we can, where we have room
it
for.
will fit, that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you know, that's another reason for the site plan approval, because it will show what areas can be occupied and what needs to be left free. That'll determine what can be out there, more than anything.
So these are your largest pieces of equipment that you're talking, 18,000 pounds? or-
Yes, that's the biggest that I would ever have there.
How tall are those, Mark?
I'll get it for you right now. It's probably 10 feet.
Tall?
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Okay.
Spec here. Okay, overall width. Sure it's down a little bit. The overall width is 7 feet, 2 inches, okay? It's like 84 inches wide. It's like a car.
Yeah,
Because it goes on a trailer on the road, it can't be
Yeah,
any
it
wider.
can't be big, yeah.
yeah.
And because it goes on a trailer and has to go under the bridges, it could be on a 3-foot high trailer and still be below the 13.6, give you an idea, okay? But, it's, overall length is 21 feet, which is the size of a four-wheel drive pickup truck, you know, a regular one-ton truck. And overall,
And as far as I'm concerned, that's leaving the idea of a lawn and garden.
see, the overall height of the machine and the
Ag
cab is
equipment.
8 feet 4 inches.
That's just my opinion. It's exceeding what I would expect to see in that kind of deal or in that kind of a location. That to me is a piece of construction equipment, and it's like that which contractors and stuff like that, or companies of that nature would purchase, not farms or homeowners and stuff like that. They might get the little one.
You know how many farms and homeowners
$50,000
buy those from me? You know how many farmers and homeowners, farmers or people, hobby farmers and homeowners buy those from me? Own those?
No, I've never seen one that,
More homeowners, landscapers and farmers own those machines than big construction companies do. Big construction companies will have a whole bunch of big machines, and they'll have one or two little ones, but more private individuals, people doing side jobs, other things, landscapers, farmers, whoever own those than that. But just because you're not familiar with it. I mean, I know, we rent them to homeowners every weekend. I mean, you probably don't feel rent them, but,
the smaller ones you're talking about,
the ones you see right there,
they're not small.
right here,
These things here?
this machine right here.
I'm talking about these small ones like this. You're
No, I'm
talking
talking about
about,
this, that's an X-ray, that weighs about 10,000 pounds right there, 8,000 pounds. Those are all KXO 40s, KX 57s, those are all 10 to 13,000 pounds. They look big deals of perception, but that machine right there is 8 feet tall. It's only 8 feet wide, and it's only tall if you want to raise the boom up in the air, that's all it is.
okay, if that's all the ways, then why the big deal about, the concern about 10,000-pound limit?
Well, I just said that the smaller, the one's a 10 or 11, and the next one goes with 13, the next one goes with 18, but the 18 one's on the end. It's, the 18,000 pound machine is 8 feet 4 inches tall. It's just stronger, it's got more mass to it, more weight to it, but it's not a lot bigger, you know what I mean? It's a little bit bigger, yes, but it's still only 8 feet wide, because it goes on a trailer. It's still only 8 feet tall, because it goes on a trailer, it's gonna be one of the bridges. It can reach further, because it's got a longer boom, and it can dig deeper, because it's got a longer boom. And it's got a bigger counterweight in the back, because it's made to dig more weight, but it's not. Like I said, I probably put one on display there, it's not, like, the lot's only so big.
Oh, I'm sure you're not gonna put a lot out there because you
No,
don't
it's
have
just a
that much
matter of
room.
someone seeing, someone goes by, says, oh, they have those. Someone that's never taken a left and get off the highway, just, it's a way to show the
Store
product.
anything you wanted inside the buildings.
There's not gonna be a row like that, right?
No,
Not-
no, no, no.
I'm sure, it's not, I know there's no room for
No.
Yeah, there is.
We could have 4 of them there or something like that, we got a couple tractors, it's just something to give representation of what we have to offer. If they wanna go out and do that, you know, and go to the other store and meet someone with a bigger machine, that's fine, but it's. But yeah, it looks great, that's not.
Go ahead,
all.
sir.
But like I said, this machine right here, I can put 4 of them in this room.
Right, but you have a bigger lot, why won't you use the bigger lot for the bigger items and then this as your
Where in Tilton?
smaller, yes.
On the
I would
ground.
just, I said, I'd probably put 1 KX080 there,
Yeah.
1
just to show it
KX57, yeah, just to show we offer it and have it. Yeah, I'm not trying to move them all there.
Right,
I mean, I'll have stuff out back, maybe palleted stuff or crated material in the back, I'm just trying, I need more room to breathe, that's all.
right.
But when people go by and they see, you know, there's, when you go by our place and it looks nice, you see the little one, the little one, the little one, the medium, and the ones we have,
Mm.
it kind of looks nice, they're all neat in a row, it's attractive, you
Yeah.
know. People, you know, we walk in our, we drive in our yard, it's pretty impressive, you see the little tractors, go to the medium ones and the bigger ones, you know, it looks nice.
Yeah, it is wild. Did you have something?
Yeah, just trying to, sitting here on the sidelines and observing the conversations, I think I'd like to throw out a potential condition that I think kind of hopefully gets at everything, and that would be sale of landscaping, agricultural, and light construction equipment not to exceed 13,000 pounds. I'll just throw that out there and see if that works for folks.
I could live with that. Please extend the line.
Yeah, that's similar to what I was gonna say lawn and garden and light construction equipment. Not to exceed 13,000 pounds would take good.
Again, I stole from,
Only will take 1 while.
I said hearing conversation, certainly I
Yeah.
did hear you say that, Chairman Brown.
No, that's what I had written down here, I'm sorry, I hadn't announced it yet,
Go to yours over here.
but. How does the board feel about that? Okay,
You comfortable?
so do we have a motion?
I gave you a motion to that effect. Read it again for me.
No, you have to recite it.
He's got
In
You're
his
right.
handwriting.
Standing on 1 foot and whistling.
So the motion would be to approve case number 15-15 for a special exception pursuant to Article Roman numeral 6, IE 1B, to allow for the sales, service, and display and storage
Storage within buildings,
within buildings.
exceeding 3,000 square feet and 380 Laconia Road.
Right.
And then your other writing below there, I can't read.
With the condition that lawn
Oh.
and garden and light construction
Well,
equipment.
his description was,
That was a condition, right? And that was-
he had the form. What were the
Well-
words you used?
Chairman Brown, would you like me to say what the wording I used?
Do you have it all written down?
Yeah, I guess I could combine, to grant us a special 1515 special exception for sales, service, storage, and display in a building exceeding 3,000 square feet with the condition that the equipment sold will be agricultural, landscaping, and light construction, not to exceed 13,000 pounds.
That's what they want.
Let's say
That's
sold
what I
and,
said.
sold and displayed. I would
Yeah,
like to
sold
add.
Okay.
sold and
sold
displayed, yeah,
displayed.
that's
Okay.
true.
I can live with that. Is that okay?
Yeah, it sets a line, it sets a limit, that's all I'm looking for.
Does everyone agree with that? Agree with that? Okay. Any other, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
Just for the record, that would be my motion.
Yeah, it is. We
Thank
knew
you,
that.
Dory.
If I gotta get up there, go over there and read it, I will, but I'll read
It's the
it.
gavel.
Okay, if there's no other discussion, all in favor then, say aye.
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 Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you so much. That was
Thank you.
tough, I know, I'm
That
sorry.
was tough.
Yeah.
It was
But you did your
confusing.
homework and we really appreciate the cooperation.
I
Okay, yeah.
appreciate
No, it's fine.
your
The only we get to is
patience.
you gotta talk about it.
I think it's a good
You know.
thing.
I
That's
want,
what makes a
we are. I
difference
wanna
in these
thank you.
things, you know?
I really
Instead of
do.
being rigid,
I'm glad we got this vehicle.
yes or
thing
no,
resolved.
sometimes it pays to,
This
Well, that's
question
another
hung
thing.
around before, and it's
Because I'm always
trouble.
scared
It is,
for this area.
it's so hard to stay on top of all these
It's
things.
good to see
A lot of that real
grow.
estate in between
You had,
Tilton, you know, the main strip.
Henry
going
DeWalga
towards, you know,
used to
West
work for you.
Mountain.
He's our neighbor. I
It's
was-
hard to find
Yeah,
valuable
right down the
support.
street
It's
from
too
him.
many
Yeah.
restrictions.
Talk
Some
to
of
them
them
all
all,
the time.
you know, go down there.
One of a
The
kind.
land that,
If,
elementary homes
if
too.
it goes to your
I'll tell you a
father,
funny
you
story.
can come back
I have a
with some
computer.
Oh, yeah,
specifics.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and,
And ask
I've always got
them to
that
consider
option.
A lot of people
I
are.
look forward to seeing
The
it.
deal
What
is
we can do with it.
Viable is there,
$6
Yeah.
something, he does a nice deep job.
and 40 cents.
Everything he does is,
So the customer's
Very
on the
perfectionist.
street. Gives him $450.
thank you so
Thank
much.
And he
Is
doesn't
the,
give him the
is the old
change.
Channel Marine building, is that in Tilton or is
So
that?
Henry says, where's the 38
Now,
cents?
oh yeah, the Channel Marine building, that is in Tilton.
Yeah.
Sticks
Yeah, I mean, when I look at
gets
that,
his hand in
that's
his
a tough
pocket
building
and
because
throws it at it.
It's not affordable for
I
most businesses
reprogrammed
because
the
the use
computer
is so
to
limited.
average to the
So it makes
nearest
a building
dollar.
worthless.
Smart
You know what I'm
move.
saying?
I don't know why they did that.
That's funny.
I love that
You
guy.
know?
Yeah, that was a
Yeah, we
bad
did
move.
too.
You know,
It's just,
that's-
he used to ride
It's
by
nice
on his
building,
his
so it's
little
not
boat,
Outside of me.
playing
You can't do
focus.
much there that it's
Yeah.
affordable.
You know,
Yeah.
just, you just,
Right beside
just, oh, we got
Diggers.
cruise out there, just ride around.
Yeah.
He had a
It's
great
funny
time.
Where's Sears used to
Love
be?
Yeah, that's what Sears
people
is.
more
Your friends
than
are
I ever met a man. He just loves to
Sears thing. There, but yeah.
I look forward to seeing that all spruced up and, running and.
Yeah.
Store
with
like
with his
better
hat.
made.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, this is,
No, we gotta clean, one day we're gonna try and clean
yeah,
up
I
and
mean,
get some
He
color
had a
in
good
there, you
run.
know?
We're really good. I'm proud of what.
I used to have a
almost
small equipment business myself.
Oh, you did wear it back
Back in the eighties.
You know,
29
Well,
years
actually,
old.
initially I was in the shopping
Yeah.
center,
Started on his
and
knees.
then we moved up to where,
Got the
Yeah.
American dream.
not
Yeah.
what is
The
Marine,
freedom
but on this
now.
side
I
of
loved
the
it when I
Okay.
first moved here.
Oh, by Roger this?
Yeah. And that is tough
About
work,
Rogers Power
working on
Sports
your
TV?
boat all the time.
No, no, but this side,
Oh,
this
it's
equal
an
Wadham
easy
Street.
way to pray.
works.
That's where I used to communicate.
It
And
rhymes.
then like, I think about
But
5,000
there
square
are
foot
some areas
building,
where
but I
the way
had
they made it work
numerous pieces of equipment case
no longer
and all the general.
work.
Oh,
It's
Carl
been
and
tough
Mary
on this
and
one.
He actually
Yeah.
built.
That was back, that was back in the
Yeah.
eighties.
Oh, wow.
And then
Yeah.
lost
Which
him
is kind of
purpose
Yeah.
a little bit, you know.
I didn't
I might,
say-
I might want to
Sure you know that.
move right in.
Yeah.
See, when I
Yeah.
met,
when she
I
comes,
think
we
he'll
guys
do a
go
good
play
job,
school.
though.
Businesses
I
like
don't
yours,
think
where you
she's
could go
gonna
in, you could
use
talk
it.
to somebody who knows.
You
You
might
No.
can't do that.
refer
Right,
to that.
yeah, yeah.
Correct.
You just can't, you can't even buy
No.
the
Yes,
stuff.
that belongs to.
I go down to the hardware store,
Yes.
get some
You know what I'm
other
saying?
stuff.
You know,
Brian,
it's just a matter of-
I know, I hate it too.
No, why
Go
don't
to the plan.
if they don't have it, I order them. I'm not, Bill,
Yeah.
I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
The dogs is a problem. Jim's dog help me sell the store.
To me, the difference between minor and site, minor and major is not all that significant.
I
don't
lived
think
in
it's
our
different
slogan,
checklists.
live free or die.
Yeah.
That's the same checklist that if somebody buys a store.
Where are we now?
they want to
Oh,
check
yeah,
them
and you have to do a site plan
It's a place
review that would go before the, planning board. Yeah, he does a site plan. Basically, what it does is looks at the property, it'll show what everything is, where the building is, and he'll show where display areas are
come in
gonna
and
be,
their waiver
where
request.
there's gonna be snow, I wasn't kidding about
I'm
the
not
snow
doing
storage,
much.
you have to have a
So I don't think I
where
should
you can
ask
push the
well.
snow storage.
And they're getting kind of tired of
How you
asking.
might have to do something to contain things like gasoline, oil, so that if, say, there's a spill in one building, it couldn't run
There
out
should be
and
a
go
section
into the
on a waiver request.
groundwater.
Letter.
Oh, yeah.
You know, 'cause you have a little bit of wetlands right off
Heck,
there.
if they're all the same ends,
I've
same
watched
ends
that.
are problem, let it be, at least get it on
There's a
paper.
shop out
It's a good
there.
idea.
Yeah.
David Delzell.
Super camp.
Dave, I don't think it was Dave.
He's a Volvo dealer years ago.
Yes, exactly, his daughter has the Volvo.
Well, there's certain things that have to be done, especially where you're close to
Yes, he had the
a
Volvo dealership.
wetlands, delineate, what's called delineated wetlands, and that's what that area
That
will
was how
be.
fast.
Well,
And then,
no.
well, oh, I know,
No, the other
I know.
day, the Delzell.
And then, but that's what they'll have to show on
That's the one I'm
the
talking about.
site
I
plan.
can't
But they,
remember.
they'll know, they'll
I
get an
don't think-
engineer to
Oh,
draw it
that's
up.
his sister or something.
So that's-
The old farmhouse.
That's what they have to do,
Is,
get the
they
site
don't do
plan.
it.
Like
Somewhere.
Yeah.
But pretty much
Barn
it's
up
a.
there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the use is a
Couldn't be anything other than that, you can't misrepresent
Yeah,
it.
so that's what they did to that
I know
case.
from
Yeah.
Massachusetts, he's probably.
Where our
You have to use a
50-some years
survey of such
didn't
and such.
specifically address what they
I
want
was
to use
told
it
he was
for,
going to buy
the zoning
Land
ordinance,
survey, a stamp.
because of the
I looked
size
at
of
that
the
barn a
buildings.
few years back.
But you get,
Looking at it,
you know,
like,
part of
how
the
many
relief
places
is
Yeah.
that those buildings are
There
there.
was
so
a
much
lot of
work.
property
Then I
that
found out
So
that
you probably wouldn't have been able, under the current
Unlike
zone, to be able to
down
build the
south.
buildings the way they are now.
If you
Right.
bought an acre, 3,000
So,
square
so
feet.
Yeah.
part of the hardship was that the buildings are existing, what are you gonna do with
Come
them?
and visit,
Right.
because as
So that's
kids,
part of what,
they used to go
what's
to
looked
Local
at.
government
So that's what zoning, that's what the zoning board looks at. The site, the planning board looks at,
So it's got some memories to what.
make sure that it's gonna operate properly, so that there'll be okay, you know, there'll be enough parking, there'll be enough
Oh, do you mean
display
like,
area, there'll
oh
be
yeah,
enough
I went
snow
out for all
storage,
their
those types of things.
training sessions, yeah, so the agriculture one was really good this year.
Can't interfere with sentiments, you
I
know.
don't
You'd have to, I'm not sure their schedule, I mean, they
Yeah,
at least
of course
once
they
a month.
right, and they usually,
Yeah, it's the same, they do the same process, it depends on when you go to.
How
We should
often
best
do you
look
do
at
it?
it.
year,
What's
like
We're gonna-
Bernie
we're gonna
Watts.
full stop.
and,
He's already gonna have
this one, that was-
visibility.
That was.
So
you don't have a better
It shouldn't be that
And,
long.
No, I don't have a lot.
He stops in the middle of it.
I don't think there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
that-
he does
I don't
at
think
the
there's
bar
a lot of things that
association
we
meetings
use
too.
that,
It's a hoot.
you know,
Yeah.
too much looking around.
But yeah,
But
there
at
are those
the
right
now,
now, sessions.
Yeah, there's still
Buy up
plenty of
ten
land.
more.
Yes.
It's been a tough
I
road.
mean, now,
Yeah.
now we have
Yeah.
Taco.
Buy out Shaw's.
But-
Yeah, I would check on that survey.
I started downtown.
I feel like there isn't something.
Oh, did you?
site plan
12-foot
review
ceiling.
Major brands.
Boston, that was a
Yeah.
plane he had.
Yeah.
The sad part about it
It
is
was
when
funny,
you're doing the
I was a
bad
go-getter,
roads,
so I'm
yeah.
going back and forth to Brian Rock's, keeping the store open, and getting something, this and that.
The best clothing
Boston,
store.
Beverly come by, he was my landlord, and I go,
Good for 61 years.
There was
And
one.
pushed
why am
him out
I
of
running
business.
90 miles an
You guys,
hour?
Carter,
I
Sarah,
said, you
Yeah,
just-
all of
It's
them.
hard.
Awesome.
I have to pay attention.
Yeah.
I don't
All
think
overhead,
so.
son.
I can
Oh.
get
Both sides of the highway.
I have to make sure,
I
you know,
cannot
we stay
tell
strong,
you
we stay
what
on.
the
Not,
property
guess
is.
what I tell
People
people,
all our stores.
Um,
don't
Go
let
out
your
to the store in
assets
Holyoke,
you
Mass.
turn
know,
into your liability.
Yeah.
It's all, a lot of population.
Regional
change.
district.
Right.
Cleaning
Right.
that.
District, you have
Owned it
40-foot side setbacks,
But we're trying to
between
keep going back.
Wow.
Taco Bell and a
But around
Burger
here,
King.
it's
9
not a
years.
landscape area.
You'd rather,
So
you
what happened?
wanna have a
What
residence.
happened?
Between the town,
Between the,
Right.
you know, with
Yeah.
Exactly,
the
yeah.
big boxes
I mean,
coming.
it goes by
stuff.
regions,
They've
you know.
10 years
Certain
from now,
regions
destroyed
are
a lot
deer.
of-
One section,
low
it's
population.
unusual to
Sad, I
have
came 30
some-
years ago, I had
Another
9
We've done a real good job with
A
the water.
dream.
Right.
New
Just
Holland,
happened.
whatever, you know.
Fly over
We had New
down
Holland for
there.
a long time. but
I was
New
brought
Holland
up in the
stopped
military.
All right, he's selling tractors.
It's funny,
Somebody
Somebody said,
Well, it was nice to meet you.
You too.
Thanks a
I
lot.
don't come up
you
here that.
talked
Real big.
about the town.
You're
Yeah.
in
Feel
Pennsylvania,
like
you're
it.
real big.
It's
From-
exciting.
No, it's sounded funny, it sounded like
We
they
have a
were back in
rule,
the
military.
1800s.
You're a
You know,
military
back in the Coxfield days.
13 towns.
Plantation.
You gotta pick out any town
Back
in
in
the
my
country
plantation.
and make it your
Hometown.
hometown.
Yeah, tractor.
picking
it up for
It was a major focus of my job, making sure.
Making sure you don't.
All right, we got,
As much as I can, and then when I see a potential.
You know, I appreciate
thanks a
it.
lot, appreciate the.
Just local
With
citizens.
everything.
With the questions you asked,
All right.
it's just, I learned a lot here tonight.
Hi.
How
He's
the
gonna look at
process.
site plan.
Well, we try to turn over all the
Yeah,
stones,
we
you
don't
know,
want to make
Yeah.
Just like we're working in the company.
And you get a worm here and there, so you go fishing.
You gotta stay focused, and that's not always easy, you know. Tonight, we were good, everybody was right on
What's
track.
that?
Just look at it and say.
Yeah,
It was a good give and take.
you know,
Yeah.
Why don't we just get it
I'm
right?
gonna be harmless.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
My stuff's
I thank you
nice.
all.
I don't have junk.
Thank you so much.
yeah, no.
Thanks for the great carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah,
all.
we'll figure it
Glad
out.
to talk.
Sorry that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's on the same day.
So what do you all
I
up
just
to
meet
now?
you over there.
Retirement.
This is-
No
this
kidding.
isn't worth.
Well,
No.
we still got
You gotta
it.
go
You still
through
stay
the-
in
We
here?
started 300.
The survey.
50,000 9 years ago, and I'm down to
Okay.
37.5, and then
Oh,
the
survey,
survey.
survey?
So you gotta sell that off.
It's like I paid for storage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's.
Thousand
Well,
years.
I'll look at that.
The owners might know, but
That's
I
not
don't
fun.
think so.
And you
No,
have
no,
to-
What will your
Right.
son be doing
All right.
after that
I'm headed
is
south.
done?
Yeah.
I'm not quite
All right,
sure.
okay.
Yeah,
He used to get off to school.
take care.
All right.
Good seeing you.
Very
nice meeting. Nice
Yeah, he
meeting
told
you
us that. I like
too.
him. He's
Say hi to your
nice.
husband. He's Gavin. Yeah. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
I think
There you go.
Yeah,
You know, like,
5 days a week.
his title was looking to change to, he's a prize specialist. He is
Check it out, we have a clinic, my kids are in it, I have a 7 to 10.
elementary school,
Every Tuesday.
specking out
They go,
carpet
you know, they go for like 6 weeks and they redo one.
to builders
My kids are in
that
it.
do not pass federal, state, smoke, and do the research,
Yeah.
finding products that
5 nights a week.
the
High school
architect
kids now.
Oh, yeah.
But I play
Should
men's
have
league
picked
singles,
up.
men's league doubles. I drew with
Yeah,
the
he's
pro
good.
ad in the morning.
Yeah, it seems like.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So every tractor sold should be like half price on a piece of carpet.
Yeah.
You gotta store your tractor's
I have
wheels
somebody
on a
coming
piece of carpet.
tomorrow
Karen
to buy,
Sutton, the trainer.
if today went well, to buy the everything.
everything.
Or
Yeah.
Jeff Fisher, everybody
Yeah,
knows Jeff,
it's a little bit of a high.
You know, the
Radio station?
WFTN.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
The
no,
three
yes,
others.
I know who you mean.
The
I know Fred.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're gonna end.
Oh, Jeff, yes,
He is a
okay.
They're
service.
on merit there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have
They help with my
Oh, yeah.
parade.
Tire
Yeah.
and
Yes.
Yeah, but I wanna
Under
start playing
99
more.
cents.
Like
Check it out.
Yeah.
First in the nation,
There's 4 course there, there's some teachings.
where most
lessons,
stores
kids clinics.
start,
Yeah,
How old is
yeah.
your son?
even the Home Depot.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna take a loss.
No, I might as well.
I can't bring 40,000, where am I gonna put $40,000?
His son
He's
brought
not
up a
ready
good,
yet.
good,
So we were thinking.
we were talking a little bit about that today, and like he said, some of these entities,
Yeah,
that
you
have
can
rental
try
places and
clinic
stuff,
see the lights.
when they redo their apartments for the, upgrade, change.
Well, Well, we
tennis.
got a couple outlets, I have a,
Yeah, I love it.
I've been
I
a
know,
great competition guy.
I never wanna leave.
All these years, home dealers, decorators, whatever, no battles, no bad mouth.
Yeah, right.
Home Depot sends all their buying to me, that's what kind of relationship I
Oh.
have.
Dari.
Wow.
Yeah,
Dari.
because they don't know.
D-A-R-I.
And I
Okay,
would
very
cut,
Yeah, here, I'll give you my card.
seam,
Oh,
and
it's a son.
custom made carpet. So, I have someone coming over that's looking at the entire inventory, one package, or this campaign. I wish I could stay in the right now. I got it on my phone. It's a great commercial. It starts off 1979. Songs were,
Yeah, just for the.
and it would have the
Yeah.
YMCA.
Yeah.
Little music like that. And the
Yeah.
best show,
Whatever else.
the best
Yeah.
show,
Okay.
Yeah.
the most popular show was Facts of Life, and they started with that. And in 1979,
What's that?
floor
With
show,
Dennis and
whatever.
those guys over there with their real
but
estate
nothing,
officer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it does say, we had to pick every
Oh, yeah.
word.
Yeah.
Dennis, Donna,
Yeah.
Paul Gino. those guys.
Entire inventory, 99 cents a square foot or
Yeah.
less. But I don't wanna go through it because I gotta wait on the customer and then
Cut it.
and cut it. So if I could sum it
Done
all.
customer service thing.
Yeah, one week.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark's gonna have some carpeting to put under his tractor.
Yeah, exactly.
He said if
Hey,
we
that was
we
my
got approved
idea.
tonight, he was gonna buy the inventory off me.
All the tractors will be stored on carpet.
Congratulations.
My tractor to the carpet.
Yeah, there you go.
Idiot,
All right.
bro. Get a 9 by 12.
We still have one piece of unfinished business.
Are you gonna be in the parade?
Me personally?
All right.
No, I don't know. Usually what happens is Karen or someone will mention it, Karen Prue. And if they wanna do it, I'll say, hey, if we wanna do this or that, depending on what it is, what's going on, but is it a Thanksgiving or a Christmas parade?
No, it's Christmas on December 5th. I was told you guys
I
were
don't
gonna
know
be
anything about it
involved.
right now, but usually it makes its way to someone or one of my people that does that. I got so much going on that I used to just think.
Come on, I'm in charge of this.
If they,
Put a tractor in, put some lights on it,
Yeah,
drive
there
it.
you
it's gotta
go.
get, I'd have to get, I don't mind putting a tractor, I don't care, that's fine.
Okay.
Just gotta get someone to decorate it, do and bring it over there, that's all. I don't care, if one of my employees wants to go and do it,
December
You want
5th,
to
4
go?
o'clock.
Kamal might do it, he'll do anything.
Yes, I know.
Good
I know.
advertising.
works for us now?
I know. I
Oh,
was
really?
trying to find him,
Well,
and
was
then
he
I
from
heard, I'm
Officer?
like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he works
Thanks,
good
guys.
for us.
Best of
Bye.
luck.
Thank you.
Take care,
Don't
guys.
worry,
Made a
this
good
time.
decision. For the town,
Here.
that's all I cared about, the town.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Here, take my name and
Appreciate
number.
it. Thank you for coming.
Well, you never offered me.
Here, yeah, for a good time, don't call me.
Parade, right?
Yes, December 5th.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I'm the parade person.
Okay?
be good promotional stuff.
I did it with my wife in the Laconia one, like 3 years in a row for the dance studio. And we did it, it was so much work. I sat out there in the cold.
Oh,
The day after Thanksgiving, decorating my trailer, putting lights on it, generating music sound, did it, I'm like, after we're done, I'm like, oh, thanks so much. It was just-
Come on.
I don't need this. I don't need this.
They can all do it, he'll get some peeps over there.
Yeah,
though.
I'm busy, we get this, and.
I'll be stopping
I saw him,
by.
I've been helping out at Gilbert Hills Tennis Club. A friend of mine owns it, my family's friend, well, this is just space, help the club spruce it up and grow the business. Gee, my paving with a friend of mine too, so paving was really busy with that, so there's a lot going on, you know.
Good lord, carpet,
It's cold enough though,
paving.
you'll stop that pretty quick.
Oh, yeah, no, a lot going on. Then I
As soon as they
found
shut
they had a
down,
guy, he lent some money to build a couple spec houses in Guilford. And, the guy was,
Oh, he's waiting for
I
you.
just wanna say,
All right, I'll
I'll
take it,
see,
Mom.
I'll see you.
alright, thanks.
Take care.
So the guy that built the house, he was just investing on the money and then, and a piece of the profits when he sold it. So when he got, the guy starts building, it's kind of, it runs out of money. And the houses aren't near where they're supposed to be for the amount of money.
Yeah.
So my father just repossessed the houses from him. And my father's not really building it up and doing it, he's down in Florida right now. And one of the frames was up since last, like December or January, it's been up all summer, we're gonna lose the frame. I went up there, so you gotta fix it, so it's, one's on a cliff on Gunstock Acres, and one's on a hill going down. So I went up there, I'm like, we gotta do it, so now I just told my guys, like, a guy does work with me, construction and stuff, and so now I'm building 2 houses. So he doesn't lose all the money, he may lose money now because the guy was, he had a foundation that cracked, because he didn't fill properly, he put the foundation on, bad fill.
Yeah.
So now we're going under the foundation, we're digging it out, we're gonna cut it out with concrete saws, rip it out, go down 3 or 4 feet deeper and build it. I said, if this is our name, we're gonna sell it, this house has to be, so whoever buys this house can't worry that there's a problem or have something go wrong.
Right.
You know, if we're doing it, it's gonna be done right.
Yeah.
So if we lose, you know, we may lose 50 grand on that house, but it's gotta be done right, because no one, that's our own problem.
Yeah.
But if we're gonna do it and get it right, then it's gotta be done right. So-
Yeah, you don't want.
Make sure you sell them some carpet.
Yeah, you get some carpet in the house, right? I already
Hey,
did
give
think,
me a good deal on
I
carpet.
already did think about that, believe me. I already get some cheap carpet right now.
You're gonna bring carpet pieces with you everywhere you go.
Samples?
You know how, yeah, the
I didn't
samples
buy
on
it.
the ring.
This meeting
Have
is,
him,
this meeting is
give him
definitely out
something
of
to do.
control. I would say, wouldn't you?
I'll be the carpet salesperson.
Yeah, too much fun. Take care.
Come on. I will be seeing you.
All right.
It's a threat.
Oh my gosh, how do we get back to business after
Oh,
this?
jeez.
It's all on tape as well.
It's all on tape,
Who's
yeah.
read the minutes? Has everybody read the minutes?
Yes, the minutes are
This is
wonderful.
minutes from September 15th, 2015. And we're all set?
I can't vote, I
Yeah?
wasn't here.
You weren't here, so you have to
I
abstain.
should have read.
One abstention, okay.
It's a funny word.
So Chair will move to approve the minutes
Second.
as written.
Second?
Second? No discussion?
Second.
All in
You
favor?
all
Aye.
supported it.
Aye.
All seconded, nobody could vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, nobody's opposed.
No, nobody's opposed.
One abstention. Nice job, Dory, those did come out good.
Oh, great, thank you.
Yay, Dory.
There's only one thing that we need to do to fine tune these descriptions of the
Oh.
applications.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's all it is, just, you know, trying
Okay.
to reach a perfection, level of perfection.
sure, yeah.
You're close.
You're close
That would be to
perfect.
try and get the applicant's name in those.
Really?
Very
You want
sad.
that?
What do you mean, really?
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't see why you'd want that. It seems like what it would. I always thought don't put it because then you're not. It's
You're
not a.
judging.
You're not-
Yeah,
you're not.
yeah.
You
It's
don't-
on the application, why would you want it on that itty bitty little thing? I like where I can not have to call poor Dari every time I go, where is that? What's that near? Where's 388 Oconee Road?
I
I
don't
know.
follow you.
Why
What-
don't you can go on the
Why-
town
why would you
website, pull up the
prejudge?
maps.
Sure, I have
It's just
time
that
to do
somebody
that.
Who cares
sure.
who it is? I
You
guess
have
is
time
my
to call
thought.
them.
Right.
Yeah.
Who cares who it is?
Yeah, I just wanna
Yeah.
know where it's by so I can do ride by.
It's the address matters.
Mhm.
Well,
Although
if
sometimes if you know the name, you know where it is.
Yeah, but that's
How about
that's
concerned citizens
I
and
know what
our
you're saying.
butters that might wanna come?
the address. They should look at the address.
Yeah,
Other
that's what I
towns-
do.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, so
That's
so
what I-
you guys don't feel it's important?
No, not
Right.
necessarily, cause it's on the
So I'm
application.
glad that I mentioned it with the whole crew here.
Sorry, Bob.
I know, they used to do a page
Guys
with
all would've
all the
been whispering
abutters on it.
Whispering behind my
Do you remember
back,
that? There
idiot.
used to be a page with all the abutters on it,
Get the
the
computer.
name and address of all the abutters that the letter was sent to.
He's out of
They
control,
used to
he's
do that.
lost it. Now he's got Dory.
Yes, you're right, that we, when I was in the office, we used to do that. It showed a list of all the
I'm
abutters.
sorry.
that's I
Is this
definitely
meeting
thought
over?
about it.
I definitely went down in flames on that one, didn't I?
Well, other towns
Well,
do
no,
it
it's
that way.
just-
Which, you know, Patricia brought up a point, she's like, well, I guess there's no abutters here, and I haven't heard any complaints, and I saw somebody walking by that went upstairs,
Peter Fogg.
that,
Oh, was it?
Wasn't it Peter Fogg? No.
yes, he
Oh,
went by,
yeah.
but he had nothing to do
St.
with us.
Catherine, yeah,
Yeah,
they have a
you know.
sewer meeting.
Yeah, they have to do a sewer.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You're not,
I
we're
know.
all
I
going,
know.
oh my god, you really shouldn't say that.
That's all right.
When you write up the award, do you have anybody's name on that?
Yes.
If
The
somebody
notice of
fired me
decision.
tomorrow, I probably wouldn't.
Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't fucking-
Yeah, because it's
No,
addressed to
we
the
don't.
person.
So we have one
Then you
coming
put
up
the
next
name-
month?
so that if somebody wanted to come in after the fact, then
We don't have the
find out.
meetings.
Or if they came in before the
Well, you
meeting,
never
they
know,
could
this one
find out
came
who
out
it
kinda
was.
late.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And, I
But we
mean,
just don't have meetings.
yeah,
this hour.
it's not like
I think
it's
we
secret,
usually
it's
do
just,
No, we don't do
January.
meetings. We don't do, we don't, December is a freebie.
yes, that's right, that's
Uh,
right.
So everybody have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
And a Merry Christmas, if you don't mind me saying
I
that.
can't wait to go shopping Thursday afternoon.
Really?
Mhm.
Are you gonna do that?
Yeah? Go online and plan out my strategy.
Does everybody wanna go home? Do we?
Yes, I
adjourn?
have to go see my
Motion to
sister.
adjourn?
I so move.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
I do that at Parks and Rec. Or we go like this if we don't want to.
What's the offer?
And the person who doesn't do that has to go or speak.
Really?
Oh, yeah, it's
How
fun.
you do that?
So everybody come to the parade and the
Oh.
fireworks and all that stuff, December 5th.
December 5th at 4 o'clock.
Yep,
Where's the parade start?
it starts at Union
You gonna
Sam
be
One
around
School.
for the-
It
for
comes
the
down Elm
holiday
Street
season?
and
Yes.
Part of it.
And ends up at
In New
Riverfront
Jersey
Park.
one weekend.
Wow.
All kinds of
down
food and fireworks and I get K Jewelers
Mass.
donating
Another
Um,
weekend.
family?
all the
Yeah.
stuffed
Yeah.
animals, so I
Yeah.
can those
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
for kids. You have
Still
grandkids,
good.
right?
Good?
Still got, oh, she has a cold
And
right now,
books
a little
from
sinus
Mansfield.
infection.
And he puts,
She had to
usually,
fly
last
out
year,
on business
he put gift
to,
certificates in each book. It was 200
Detroit.
of them.
And I don't care, this
Yes.
time of year, you get on an airplane,
Sorry.
you're gonna get
Uh,
a cold.
no,
She's
stop.
got a cold, and then she had to fly back with the cold, so
So,
that
yeah,
Uh,
even
packs
Chili's is
everything in, so
donating
she got
chips
a
and
sinus
salsa.
infection from it.
They get Hampton Inn making
No.
3